What's up, everybody? Week 11 of RBL Weekly. I'm back. I'm rejuvenated. I'm refreshed. I'm no longer hungover. I'm no longer actively drunk. I'm no longer tired and sick, and I am excited to watch some battles with my friend here. My name is Pat Barker. I'm the Roast Battle League commissioner. That's the creator and host of the Roast Battle, Brian Moses.
Wow, Pat.
Dude, I'm back in it. 2 weeks in a row. I was dragging in here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was hanging on by a thread. This week, I'm back. I watched the battles ahead of time. We have a very good week of battles.
Okay.
Very excited about the battles we have this week, especially after the last couple where, you know, it was hit or miss. This week, I really liked it. I finished watching them, and I had 9 that I felt like were worthy of the tie. I had to go back and rewatch them, and it was a pleasure to do so.
Really?
Yeah.
So 9 could have made it.
Got some fun shit, yeah.
Ooh, this is a good draft class. I like it.
Absolutely. How are you?
I'm good. I feel good. I'm dressed like a referee today, you know, as they call me. But I think I'm rebranding myself as, you know, the point guard because I feel like I pass around the ball more than I'm like officiating because I always forget the jokes anyway. So really, I'm just passing the riff around more than saying, hey, stop, don't say that, or hey, stop, that's that many jokes. I let it ride a lot, you know?
Yeah. We teamed up a lot, I feel like, at Netflix.
We did.
For outside joke, you were popping into the judges table like, what is this, bottom of the third?
I didn't want to fuck around. I had 2 people working on it. It was you and Autistic Thunder.
Nice.
And, you know, he's good with numbers.
Oh, yeah. So. I was going to say, let him count some shit. That's
I got a ringer in there. Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. And shout out to him because I didn't even hear him answer your questions, which, I mean, I assume if you asked him, the answer would be long and loud. But he was on it, huh?
No, when you said bottom of the third, he was literally say the same thing. I was like, you guys had ESP going on.
Yeah.
It was crazy. He was like, it's bottom of the third.
Right.
Third right here.
Yeah.
Fourth right here. This is the fifth. Get in there. I'm like, oh, that's my boy. He was on top of things.
Shout out to Myra. Shout out to everybody. The Netflix. Let's touch on the Netflix real quick.
Let's touch on it.
We had this very ambitious goal to bring in battlers from around the country for the biggest RBL tournament of all time. We were at the outside joke stage, right outside the Hollywood Palladium. Few thousand people over the course of 3 shows. And it was also the 10th birthday, right before our 11th birthday. Better late than never.
Right.
We brought back The Wave and Coach T and, you know, all these people from the Roast Battle past.
Gigi DeBussy.
Yep. Paired with the present Roast Battle, the RBL. And I thought the result was pretty good.
Dude, the mashup was insane. I was telling you after the first night, we've never had a good first night. I've been through many first nights of tournaments for Roast Battle. And now this Roast Battle League thing because everybody's so good at it. And yeah, I couldn't be more impressed. I felt like the X Games of like, oh, shoot, we finally figured it out.
Yeah.
So that was amazing. Shout out Josh Meyerowitz. Shout out Coach T, The Wave, Willie Hunter, Jeremiah Watkins, Jamar Neighbors, Gigi DeBussy, Elliot Mack, Sushi Boy Mexico, Justin Grant, and the Godfather, obviously, Jeff Ross. Without him, none of this would be possible.
Dude. It was so nice because he's been so busy leading up to, I mean, the busiest 2 weeks of his life.
Huge
the
roast
Brady
culture.
roast. He's got his own one-man show, Take a Banana for the Ride, which I got to see, by the way. Awesome.
Yeah.
Really, really
Rave
loved that.
reviews.
And then after all that, it's like, oh yeah, also come in and help facilitate this massive like roast battle show.
Yeah, he brought in Tony Hinchcliffe, Nikki Glazer, Chelsea Handler, Jaleel White, Urkel.
Oh
He brought in Dr. Phil, who we were just talking about a little bit earlier. So, and then you brought out the best roasters. You brought the number 1 and number 2 ranked battlers in every city outside of Cleveland and Atlanta. So this was huge, man.
It was great. And to get to judge, like you don't understand, like the most special part of the last few weeks to me, and it was a great few weeks for all of us, but when you get the Urkel cosign, when you're judging and Jaleel White is like, nah, this dude is too funny. You can't go to him first.
Yeah.
Jaleel White was like, I don't want to follow the commish.
You don't want to follow the commish,
Commish is on fire right now.
Yeah,
oh my God, dude. Yeah, 9-year-old me was freaking out.
It was crazy. You were like the black dick to him. He was like, I can't follow that. That's craziness right there. That's Lexington Steel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly the metaphor that I was going to say as well. Thank you.
We usually, you tossed out Pornhub last week or the week before. So
True.
I had to toss out, something I knew.
True. And how about a shout out to the winner of the tournament, Heather Keith, Austin, Texas, beating Katie Kincaid from Chicago in the finals. A great final battle, by the way.
One of the best we've seen. I mean, outside of Jimmy Carr and K. Trevor Wilson, that's probably one of the best finals I've seen of a tournament.
And you've seen them all.
I've seen them all.
You've seen them all. And it really lived up to the expectations. Heather winning 4 battles in 3 nights. beating people from Denver, from New York, from Chicago, and dare I say, kind of like low-key the star of each individual night.
Heather Keith was the MVP in every round she was in.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever seen that either, by the way. Maybe outside of Jimmy Carr, but I mean, man, it was thoroughly impressive that she had the crowd, she had the judges, she had the wave. I mean, like the wave really only came out during her. So like what the wave does is they accent jokes, right?
Yeah.
So they're kind of like the pulse of the audience. So if the crowd goes nuts, they go nuts. And they didn't really go nuts for anybody else but Heather Keith. She really had the vibe of the whole tournament.
She was getting the biggest pops, and when you get a big pop in front of 1,500 people, it hits different, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, and shout out Frank Castillo. He came and cameoed, the season 2 winner of Jeff Frost Presents Roast Battle on Paramount Plus right now. He came out and helped judge and bring us home a little bit.
Yeah, and shout out Frank. It would feel disingenuous to have a celebration of the first 10 years of Roast Battle and not have Frank involved in
Mike
some
Lawrence,
way.
first round.
Yeah. Mike Lawrence was in the belly room. We are going to see one of the belly room battles from the tournament later on tonight. But the outside joke, those videos are being edited. You will get to see those videos sooner rather than later. More information still to come on those. But for now, congratulations to Heather Keith. Thank you to everybody who helped make this a big success. I want to talk also, before we get started, I got 2 more things. We got a lot to cover up top this week. The California Cup. It has kind of gone on the back burner with Netflix and everything like that. I want to give this the respect it deserves. This Thursday, May 23rd, from the Live Bash Studios in Westwood, over by UCLA's campus, we will be deciding the California Cup. It's all Bay Area. We started with people from the Bay, from San Diego, from LA. It is down to Deep Tanshu Ja and Raphael Wolfgang, both Bay Area guys. We would love it if you're in the area and you want to come out. I'm making an exclusive offer to viewers of RBL Weekly, because you're the super fans. If you're in LA and you want to attend this event, and by the way, we have other great battles on there. We have 4 outstanding battles. It's going to be an awesome night. Not one undercard, 4 main events. It's going to be great. Hit me up on Instagram, at RBL Commish. Send me a DM. Tell me that you want to go to this thing. It is Thursday night at 8:30, and I'm going to hook it up. I'm going to make it happen.
Yes. And for the comment section, yes, when Jaleel White, Urkel from Family Matters, when he came out, we did do the Spider-Man meme pose. We looked at each other like we were the same person. So that's for my comment section. Yes, Urkel happens all the time throughout my whole life. It was a very serendipitous, very full circle moment to be like, oh my God, you're the reason I got made fun of throughout my whole life.
I don't get that. I never got Urkel from you.
Yeah, Gregory Hines usually, yeah. But
wow.
yeah, no, the comment section, because they're not very smart. Yeah. They like to go Urkel.
They hit you with the Urkel, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they don't really know many of the black people, so.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's just like, what's the most? Who's the least cool black person we could think of?
Yeah, but Urkel's. I mean, Jaleel White, by the way, one of the coolest guys.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about what happened where he gave a bag of his product?
Hit it. Let's
okay,
go.
So who was it? John Ajota wins.
John Ajota won on night 1 at Outside Joke. Yeah.
So.
And the two Denver guys lost.
Okay,
Adam
yes.
Gilliland, Jake DePizza.
So Urkel's judging. Jaleel White's his Urkel. He's judging. He gives out a bag of purple Urkel edibles, right? They're THC infused. And Jota wins, takes them, passes them around to some of the guys. The only guys I think took them were the Denver guys, because that's the marijuana capital, right?
Yep.
And they said that was the highest they've ever been. They were still high the next day.
I showed
24 hours
I showed
later.
up for night 2. I ran into the Denver guys, and they were like, dude, we took half a purple Urkel last night and we're still fucked up. And the Jota was too. And then you made him explain it on stage, and he got all flustered, which was great.
Like, I'm still never take edibles from Urkel. The end. It was really bad. And then they lost.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, that's a tough thing to try to explain in like 1 sentence or less.
He did a pretty good job. He was like, Urkel got me high. Don't trust black people.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Jota did a great job in the tournament.
That guy just nails.
One of the most effortlessly funny people I've ever seen. Everything
He's got
he
a lot
says,
of rage.
Yeah. But it's channeled very, very well.
Yeah.
So California Cup this Thursday. We will be handing out a trophy that is frankly 5 times bigger than the Netflix trophy.
You deserve it, California.
Absolutely, yeah. Shout out to the Netflix trophy department. They killed it this weekend as well.
Oh my God.
The last thing I have to talk about, and I just gave the Bay their flowers. They're in the championship. It's going to be a Bay Area champion for the first ever California Cup. This week, did you see the rap video?
I didn't want to talk about it, but I knew you were going to bring it up. Yeah, I saw the diss track. I didn't see all of it. I could only get through the first few bars, if you want to call it those things, from a musical perspective. But yeah, Josh Means, as an ex-battle rapper or an ex-rapper, I can see why that's not your day job anymore.
Josh Means, Dakota Fry, and Artie Valenzuela, they took the Kendrick Lamar Not Like Us beat.
Yeah, very hyphy, very Bay Area type beat.
Yeah, and just disgraced it. They ruined it in every way possible. They made a diss track towards LA. It was, I commented, it's terrible in the best way possible, in that they knew it was bad. It was not intended to be taken seriously. It was tongue in cheek, so I'll give you credit for that. That being said, holy shit, that sucked.
Yeah, the audio quality was bad. I mean, I couldn't get through the audio quality, and just Josh's flow was just, I don't even know what that was.
I mean, the flow just gets progressive as you go through all of them.
Yeah.
Artie comes in, and the first two bars, he nails the first two bars.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, this is the guy who can rap. And then it unravels very, very quickly. But those first two bars.
Start speaking Tagalog.
Yeah.
Not even English anymore.
He had something about Gronk spiking the shot glass. It was very of the times. He tied it all in. It nice. Flowed, and then it was all downhill from there.
Don't put it on streaming, boys.
No.
Don't put it on. Do the J. Cole thing. Pull it off streaming.
Now, that being said, as a 40-year-old white man, I know what not to do, which is make a diss track of my own. I will not be doing that. I have a family I don't want to embarrass too badly. But I would like to address a couple of the specific accusations. Number one, Josh Means said, LA's in first because you and I are in charge of the votes. This man has never watched a battle before sitting down in this chair.
Ever.
If I sent him battles and I was like, could I rank these? I would get no response to that email.
Not at
all. We also have a committee of people who, from all over the country who have an opportunity to rank the battles. It's not LA people exclusively. I think the rankings are very fair. Now, that being said, his next thing was a lot of LA's points this year have been San Diego versus the Bay battles, which is absolutely true. We got a lot of bullshit points on loopholes this year.
Thank you, California.
Yeah. So you're right about that. I concede that point. Well done. And lastly, just as a general piece of advice, if you only have time to do one thing and you want to climb in the rankings, I would choose sending in a battle over recording a diss track. To record the diss track and then not submit a battle it's a rough look. That's a rough look.
You didn't even sit in a battle after that diss track?
What? But here's the best part, right? So I hit him up and I'm like, we're talking, and he's like, by the way, I didn't submit a battle because we haven't had a show in the last 30 days. And I'm looking at my records. The commish keeps diligent records. And I'm like, it says here you had one on April 25th and April 26th, which would both qualify. And he goes, yeah, I forgot about those. April 25th we didn't record, and April 26th was just terrible. So I don't know, man. I guess take everything I just said and put it over the ether beat, and that's our response.
Yeah, but all Bay Area California Cup final in Westwood.
Yeah.
Next to UCLA this Thursday. Thank you, Bay Area, for your imports. We'll keep taking your points.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to come check that out, again, DM me and we'll hook it up. We'll make it happen. All right, this was a long intro by our standards. Let's jump into some fucking battles now. Like I said before, great week for battles. As always, 7, 6, and 5. We do not watch here in the studios. We will be back to check out the top 4. But let's get you started right now with a really fun battle out of one of our expansion cities, Cleveland. It was a big week for them last week. They had their first ever #1 battle. After only making the countdown one time in the first 9 weeks, now they land on the countdown 2 weeks in a row. They follow up their #1 battle with a #7 battle. And frankly, on a lot of weeks, this could have been number 3, last week. Like I said, it's a good week. This is a fun battle. I kind of wish we could watch this one here. At some point, you're going to have to see Kyle Hornhorst perform, and we're going to have to break down his breath control. Imagine Matt Foley, motivational speaker, from SNL battling.
I love it already.
It's so good. And it's a lot of fun, this battle this week. It's #7 from Cleveland. It's Chris Clem versus Kyle Hornhorst. Here it is.
It's an honor to be up here roasting the painting from Ghostbusters 2. This is like the alternate ending where the Ghostbusters lose, but the baby turned out to be autistic.
I believe it's called a spectrum now, Kyle. Give it up for Kyle Hornhorse. Kyle is a fat white dude in his 30s who vapes nonstop and speaks in Ebonics. Every time I see him, I have to fight the urge to say, I need a pack of cigarettes, 2 lottery tickets, and $20 on pump 6.
Chris puts raisins in his potato salad so people know that he's a racist. He looks like he has a bumper sticker that says, "These colors don't run, they 4-wheel drive."
Squeak that last part out.
I was out of breath.
What a surprise. They said before, Kyle's job is that he's a lunch lady, but unfortunately, he broke his hero Biggie Smalls' 4th crack commandment, which is don't get high on your own supply. One look at Kyle is proof that school lunches are not nutritious. This guy might be from Lima, Ohio, but the only plant he's ever ingested is weed.
Hell yeah. Chris used to have a very popular podcast called Pretty Swell Guys, where he talked about how pretty guys make him swell.
It's a gay joke.
You're gay.
Yeah, I'm gay. He's gay. I guess it would be, I'm gay. Kyle is half German and half Kentucky hillbilly. That means he absolutely hates Jews, but he's never seen one.
Chris has got some television credits. He won $100,000 on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And he was also on MTV's True Life. I blew my kids' college funds on video games and wrestling t-shirts.
Nah, you're wrong, man. That's going to be valuable one day.
The reason that Chris has so many wrestling shirts is so he can have something to jack off to while he's in the closet.
God damn. Kyle gets a joke longer than 10 seconds and he's done. Where's my vape, bro? Where's my vape? This is the longest I've ever seen Kyle without a vape in his mouth.
Suck my dick, dude.
All right. Speaking of wrestling, Kyle is a gigantic wrestling fan. And his favorite wrestler of all time is Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pump. And he told me that if he was going to be a wrestler one day, his name was going to be 3 Pump Papa. He said that's what his wife calls him in bed, and that's how long his heart would last if he stepped in the ring. Holler if you hear me!
Thank you, Hollywood hunk homo.
Cancel Kyle, that's the 4th gay joke.
Here's a 5th, motherfucker. Chris is into pogs. If you don't know what that is, that's P-A-W-G, fat ass white girls. But he's never had any luck with them because he's a fag. P-H-A-G, fat-headed autistic giant.
Just making sure that worked out phonetically.
Because you're autistic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody, this is kind of sad, but Kyle has told us all he's moving to LA in a few months. He's gotten cast in a movie He's playing Slimer in a Ghostbusters prequel. And his agent already got him another job. He's going to be playing the Kool-Aid Man. They decided to cast him because they could save money on CGI and just use his red skin from his high blood pressure.
So that was the number 7 battle this week. Chris Clem, Kyle Hornhorst scoring another point for Atlanta after a rough start. They get on the board a couple weeks in a row.
Atlanta?
Oh man, that's wishful. I'm trying to manifest that into being a thing.
I thought that was it.
No, I'm
that
trying
was
to
the
manifest
debut.
Atlanta into making it's bad.
It's Cleveland. Consistency.
Cleveland. It's Cleveland. Thank you, Cleveland. I'm so sorry that I called you Atlanta.
2 weeks in a row. Good job, Cleveland.
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row. Atlanta, on the other hand, we've had conversations with their people. I'm hopeful it'll turn around. And if it doesn't, we might have to discuss relegation.
Just make a diss track, Atlanta.
It can't be worse than your battles. Let's keep it moving right now and go to number 6 this week. This comes to us from Austin, Texas, at the Creek and the Cave. This battle is the fattest battle perhaps we've ever had. And this is from a sport that gave us Keith Carey versus Paige Wesley, me versus Keith Carey. There's been a lot of heavyweight battles.
Ralphie May, rest in peace.
Yeah, this one might take the cake right here.
Wow, don't say cake. We're talking about fat people.
I did that. Yeah, that was for you, buddy. It's number 6 battle this week. It's a lot of fun. It's Trey Pack versus Alden Shaw. Here it is.
Second battle night. Here we go. 5 jokes.
You go first, right? I'll go first. I don't care.
You guys are so
Jesus Christ. A lot of people know, some people don't. John Wayne Gravy here is actually an author. He's wrote a book. Yeah, it's super, super cool. You can find it just at whatever middle school he was hanging out at that day, you know? I have a copy of it here. I do have a copy of the joke. I swear to God, it's called Big Fat Cock. Which it's not a cookbook, but it is named after Alden's favorite thing to eat.
Hey, 130 copies sold, not too bad. I once saw Trey describe a 22-ounce steak as finger food.
Texas Roadhouse does me good, dude. What? Hey, not too wrong. Alden is the genie that appears if you whisper swamp ass 3 times into a 2-liter of Mountain Dew.
You look like you wipe your ass with paper towels.
What?
Anyway. Yeah, when Trey goes to get a new tattoo, he goes, what do you have in murals?
It's so expensive for me as tattoos, it's crazy. I'm upside down on the apron now, it's great. Whatever, Cub Dynasty, it's cool that you're here. Alden's diabetes has high cholesterol.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, Trey used to be a youth pastor, but he got fired for glossing over the parts of the Bible about gluttony.
That's the Old Testament, dude. That's a Jew book. We're not reading no more. Yeah, that's bullshit. Man, Alden wants to put his height on his Tinder profile, but he looks like he's legally required to put his square footage.
Actually, Trey is a really nice guy. A lot of people don't spot him, but he's actually a whale organ donor.
Man, I love Alden. Alden's my friend. I do love this guy. Alden told me he likes being choked in bed. So girls just wait for him to fall asleep and they unplug his CPAP machine.
Trey spends a lot of time, looks like he spends a lot of time reinflating his tires. Oh, there we go.
was number 6 this week. Everything is bigger in Texas,
I am
including
full from that, yeah.
Yeah, that battle. I mean, my God. But both of those guys, great joke writers. Trey Pack will be on the show at the Mothership that is going down tomorrow night. By the time you see us, it'll already be done. But we're heading out to Austin in the morning, and Trey's going to be battling there.
Hard jokes, hard arteries.
Absolutely. And that was my first time seeing Alden Schaub. Very impressed by that guy as well. A lot of fun. And that, by the way, that was a short notice battle. The one that you guys just saw, that took place on a couple hours notice, and both of those guys killed it. Fortunately, it's really easy to write jokes about fat people. That makes the whole thing a little bit easier.
We do fat shaming well here at the Roast Battle.
Yeah, if there's one thing we've nailed consistently for a decade, it's fat shaming.
Yes.
Let's keep it moving now with the number 5 battle. This is from a first place team. I'm talking about Manchester.
Whoa!
The expansion city got off to a really hot start. Since then, the other cities have kind of been playing catch up a little bit. Manchester back on the board this week with the number 5 battle. They pick up 3 points for this one. This is Tegan Marlowe versus Jordan Ducharme. It's number 5 this week. Here it is.
Oh, hey, everybody. This is myself, Jordan. This is Tegan Marlowe. Tegan's always acted like a princess, you know? We're just waiting for her to find a driver just as good as Diana's. In college, Tegan was both a cheerleader and president of the Feminist Society. Can you believe that? That's like being a Tory that eats at the food bank. Which makes sense, because Tegan is a Tory that eats at the food bank. Tegan actually was once suspended from school for cyberbullying. Yeah, apparently she was too ugly to be one of the mean girls and had to be a bitch online instead.
Jordan says that he hates creepy comedians, which is kind of rich coming from a guy who looks like he runs a cult out of a skip. Jordan looks like an alternate timeline where Charles Manson didn't get arrested and instead went on to enjoy a flourishing career at CEX.
99% of men would rather meet a bear in the forest than Tegan Marlowe. Yeah. At least the bear wouldn't force you to listen to its shitty comedy routines. Tegan looks like the type of person guys would spike, not to take advantage of her, but just so she'd shut the fuck up for a few hours. She's got crazy stalker energy, I'm telling you. She looks about 10 years and 10 stone away from finding her own baby reindeer. A lot of people say Tegan is funny for a woman, but what they don't know is under those poofy dresses she wears is a team of men writing jokes for her.
Jordan's ass is so hairy that his face is jealous. In fact, the real reason he had to leave Canada was because people kept trying to hunt him for sport. He tried getting his ass waxed, but the beautician was like, sorry, we actually don't have rug doctor.
Tegan's been doing comedy for a few years now with not a lot to show for it. Her bombs on stage are so devastating, even Israel thinks it's a bit too much. You know it's bad when your brother is a bald, white battle rapper in his 30s and you're still the disappointment of the family. The only way she can disappoint her family anymore is if she married the black guy that beat her brother in the battle last week and then started voting Labour.
Jordan is super into gaming, obviously, look at him. He even has a podcast about gaming called Game of Your Life, which is super popular with his fan. Where is Beck? Like, he's not here tonight. Honestly, though, like, thank God that something like this exists for the community. Because, you know, I always say we need to listen to marginalised voices more, and that does include incels.
All right. Tegan did the podcast twice, by the way. Never pushed the needle.
It was great.
By the way, I think we can all agree, Tegan looks like the type of person who would cheat on her boyfriend and then blame it on her astrology sign. She looks like the type of person to get a late-term abortion just to fit into that wedding dress in time for her bestie's wedding. Tegan looks like she'd sleep with her high school PE teacher just to get out of exercise.
Jordan is recently circumcised.
Hey now.
I don't know who I feel more sorry for. Jordan, who had to get his foreskin chopped off in his 30s, or the doctor who had to touch his dick. To be honest though, I don't even know how the doctor managed it. What with all the open mic comedians that were down there just trying to get a spot. That's showbiz, baby.
All right, last one here. Tegan does TikTok videos reading pages from her childhood journal. They've been cited as the most tragic diary entries since Anne Frank. In one of the videos, she talks about having her very first period. Her parents were so happy that her dad suggested celebrating. This is all true. He was so thrilled to know he for sure hadn't gotten her pregnant. That would have been disastrous, as Tegan isn't maternal and would make for a terrible mother. If you had to choose between her or Lucy Letby, you know who you're leaving your kids with.
So Jordan is recently single, so I thought I'd help him out and write him a little Tinder bio. Now, ladies, you might want to listen up for this, especially if your dream man is someone who has quite clearly never seen a pillowcase. Okay, so this is how I think it goes. Sorry, hang on one sec. I just got to get into character. One sec. What's up? My name's Jordan. I'm actually 21, but I've made some terrible life choices. And I put the whore in Tim Hortons. I like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain, mainly because I'm a functioning alcoholic. Peace sign emoji. My main hobbies include weed, and that's pretty much it. But that's okay, because I've put on a blazer. So swipe right if you want a guy who fucking stinks and gives off low-key murder vibes. And come spend a night on my one singular mattress on the floor. Thanks.
So that was number 5 this week. Tegan Marlowe, Jordan Ducharme. Jordan, the guy who runs Roast Battle Manchester. We've seen him a couple of times now. Our first time seeing Tegan Marlowe. Really good, close, competitive battle as Manchester picks up 3 more points. And we now move into the top 4, which are the ones we're actually going to watch here in the studio. And we're going to jump into number 4 right away. It's got a couple names that are near and dear to Brian Moses' heart. This is from New York City. Last week, Dave Sheehan and Talon Harris had the number 2 battle, and we both loved it. It kind of blew us away.
Good.
2 weeks in a row for Dave Sheehan landing on the countdown here, and he's going up against someone who was a Brian Moses sleeper pick for MVP. You are a big, big, big fan of Malia Simon.
Let's go!
So we'll talk more about her and Dave in a minute. Let's just jump into the battle for now. It's number 4, New York City, Dave Sheehan versus Malia Simon. Here it is.
All right, so Dave is here, so I have to ask, which one of you said his name 3 times? Dave is a project manager. I assume that project is sending a raven to keep watch over his enemies.
We gotta be quick. She has to go back to high school to terrorize her prom using telekinesis.
All right, I don't want to be mean. Dave is a 4 for comics, but an 8 for reptiles, so that's... pretty good. You look like you sort your Tinder matches by species, actually.
Thank you, Failure Swift. Malia likes rock music. She told me she used to be obsessed with Counting Crows. Not the band, she's just really autistic.
I've never been so certain somebody doesn't have toenails. Dave told me he doesn't watch porn, so the only thing in his search history is how do humans laugh?
I would like to know. Thank you, you human Wes Anderson movie. I'm assuming Malia's bedroom walls are covered with thousands of photos of the guy she's currently stalking. She spends part of every night staring at them while blasting Slipknot music and peeling apples really slowly.
All right, Dave does have a girlfriend. Actually, sorry, no, that's just what he calls the nice lady who administers his chemotherapy.
If you were touched by her, you'd get it. Thank you, Gamey Schumer. Anyone else get the impression that Malia constantly apologizes throughout sex? She looks like a toy doll where if you pull the string in her back, she says, "Mexicans are weird."
Nice joke.
Dave told me he's a rule-following man. That's what you told me. He told me he's never committed a crime, unless you count stealing Christmas.
I don't know whose info you're using, but you're doing pretty well with it. Thank you, comedians in cars getting chlamydia. Malia is 5'4". That's her height and her rating. And she looks like me if my Make-A-Wish was to swap my leukemia for bulimia.
So there it is, the number 4 battle of the week from New York. Look, when in doubt, you can't go wrong with 5 jokes, rapid fire, couple of quick rebuttals, a good percentage of the jokes hit. That is a tried and true formula, and that's what we saw in that battle.
It looked like a professional roast battle.
Yeah.
Wasn't a lot of big pops. There was a lot of good jokes. It felt very quintessential New York in the sense of you're going to hear some hard stuff. The joke's going to be very well written. But you could tell it felt more like a writer's battle than a performer's battle.
Yeah, You know, I think we're starting to see a little bit more of the personality of Dave Sheehan.
Yeah,
a little bit, which I like. He's kind of got that, you know, he's leaning against the back wall kind of shit going on. He had a couple of like, you know, in the moment kind of like rebuttals. The chemotherapy thing, if you were touched by her, you'd get it or whatever. That was really funny. He also brought up, and I think this is worth mentioning because we mentioned last week. So Dave last season went 6-0 during the regular season. I invited him to the mothership in what was technically the off season. It was the first time I think I ever actually saw him battle because he went 6-0, but he never made the podcast. And he battled Dan Nolan.
Oh,
and he got steamrolled in that battle. But I remember hearing afterwards, not just from Dave, but from Dan himself. Dan is very open, and he's just like, yeah, we exchanged info and agreed not to call each other pedophiles, but then he was so boring in his info, I decided to just call him a pedophile 5 times.
Oh, wow.
And I know Dave was frustrated about that.
Okay.
Which is understandable because you're going and trying to, like, you know, write real jokes and you're just getting stomped with, like...
The name of the game is consent also, you know?
Right. And then even tonight when Malia had the one joke and he's like, I don't know whose info you're using, but you're doing well with it.
Right.
It seems to be kind of like a recurring kind of theme, you know, with Dave. I don't know if he is truly so boring that nobody can come up with anything to say. I mean, looking at him, I think he can get 5 jokes just on, like, looks alone.
I mean, the guy has leukemia. Right? He's going through leukemia therapy.
Is that a real thing? Does he really have leukemia?
I don't know. I mean, like, look, I mean, that's what I'm gathering from hearing it. That's the one thing he seems to agree on outside of, you know, because he's the pedophile thing, right?
Oh yeah, he's adamant that he's not a pedophile. I haven't talked to him about his
But
status.
leukemia patient, he seems to be okay with.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely is embracing that, whether or not it was in a, I look like this or whatever. If he actually has leukemia, that's wild. Dave, let us know, buddy. I'll send a care package or something.
Yeah, so people can write better cancer jokes about you.
Yeah, seriously, what a missed opportunity.
I mean, yeah, if we're leaning into like he's got chemo and he's got a caretaker, it's like lean into that maybe than just being boring and calling him a pedophile 5 times.
Yeah, dude, Dan Nolan, I love you, man, but if we gave you a literal leukemia patient and you just called him a pedophile 5 times, come on, man.
Yeah, because a leukemia patient actually, I just don't think they have the strength to like. And let's get out of here.
Yeah, but I like that we're seeing more of Dave this year. I like his writing style. He's developing like a little bit of a swagger up there, which is cool. Malia's got her like quiet and unassuming like underdog type of vibe.
Correct.
Which we saw her at the mothership. She killed it down there.
Yeah, her style kind of it really is kind of like a vinegar and or like an oil and water kind of a thing. It is like the opposite of what you're gonna get from the Austin.
Yeah.
Real loud, real buzzwordy kind of a thing, and she's very just like a thousand paper cuts kind of a thing.
Yeah, definitely. And she, she's good also at writing those jokes that get are hard to like pin down. Like the opening joke about like he's a project manager, like sending a raven to watch over his. That's a very, very good joke, just based on kind of like looks alone.
Right, exactly, and didn't call him a pedophile. Basically, yeah, just called him, and it was an ageism joke, really. Yeah.
Yeah. And then his joke about her. Does anybody else get the impression that she apologizes a lot during sex? I don't know. I don't get that impression.
I do, but it's with the way he looks, that can't land. You know what I mean? Because you're looking at him like, whoa. You know what I mean? You're thinking like that she looks like a little girl. He looks like, and then we go back to the pedophile thing. So like him saying that it's almost like we're sexualizing her now. So it feels a little weird.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's a really good breakdown.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, that's a really good joke because she does look like the type of person that says like, hey, I'm sorry. Like, am I talking too much? Oh my God, I'm so sorry about this. You know what I mean? Like kind of like Meyerowitz does all the time with he apologizes a lot.
Yeah.
If you've met girls who are always like, are you mad at me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of like, people do that with like a lot of anxiety issues. So I can see what he means by that. But because of the dynamic of the way he looks and the way she's, her stature and the way she looks, it's a little disturbing.
That's a good note. If you're battling a childlike woman, do not sexualize her.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, just for, audience purposes, if you want to like, want that to hit harder, but that's a good joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just not for Dave.
Very good. I couldn't figure out why that didn't land for me, and that totally makes sense. Yeah, look at that. The psychology behind the jokes, the breakdown from Brian Moses. I'll handle the writing style. You handle
the psychology.
The psychology. That's perfect. Perfect
it's
team.
gnarly, yeah.
Well, let's go to the number 3 battle this week, and this is a champion versus champion battle coming to us from Tokyo. I was very excited about this one on paper. Last season's MVP, the reigning London champion, Shalaka Karup, against the Tokyo champion, Jay Yamaki. Jay, the Tokyo MVP from last season, MVP versus MVP, champion versus champion, 2 of the best in the world, 2 very different styles. I was curious to see how this one would go. It's a lot of fun, and it's number 3 this week. Here it is.
Tokyo! Battle! Okay, let's address the Ganesh in the room. This here is Shalaka. Shalaka. Yeah. Shalaka was named after the rhythmic beating her Indian parents gave her.
Nailed it.
Worth it.
That's not red lipstick she's wearing. She's just told her Indian parents she's dating a British guy. The horror.
No, the red lipstick's from going down on your wife during Shark Week.
Explains why she was cranky. Thank you.
Anyway, this elderly hooker is Jay.
That's our MVP.
Yep.
Jay is a contortionist. He's very flexible. For a little bit of money, he'll let you put it in any hole. So he can also put his feet behind his head, which is the best way to see how small his dick is. So.
Works for me. So this person here is Shalaka. Well, I say person. She looks more like if woke culture had infiltrated the owl community.
It's very silly.
It's pretty good.
But Shalaka Karup, PhD. Yeah, given how she was raised on curries, I assume that stands for pretty heavy diarrhea. In fact, I'm sorry this is kind of shocking to you guys. So, I mean, if you're a bit squeamish, look away. But I actually found a picture of Shalaka's asshole after a food poisoning attack. So look away if you're a bit squeamish. Sorry. This.
Thank you for that, fantastic Mr. Fox Kids. Jay looks like he cries when he comes. Mostly because every time he does, he's ruined another sock.
I find it makes them better. But yeah, so Shalaka's so hairy that if she was ever stuck in a tower and asked to let down her hair, she would start by unzipping her pants.
Oh!
Honestly, her vagina must look like a pony ran in and got stuck.
Anyway, this limp chopstick is Jay Yamaki. Jay has a face for radio, a body for dysmorphia, and a mouth for a glory hole. Jay looks like he calls his dick the Force. And the Force is how he gets women on it. So.
Such a nerdy joke. It's appropriate though, you look like you menstruate Lego. I just want to say that I'm going to preface this next joke, sorry, because I know it's kind of a sensitive topic, but female genital mutilation is... that's not the joke, you disgusting people. Female genital mutilation is a vile and horrible practice. And it's a problem close to my heart. In fact, it's about a meter to the left of it right now. When Shalaka rubs her clitoris, a deformed genie comes out. A genie who grants you 3 wishes as long as you grant it remote access to your computer.
Yeah.
Multi-layered punchline.
The combo.
Yeah. Start with the deformed pussy.
I'm glad you could take the time from brewing kombucha from your wife's yeast infection to be here today.
Gotta do something with it.
Jay actually has OCD without the compulsion, so he's OCD without the C. Which is strange, because looking at Jay, I thought he was without the D.
Shalaka also has OCD, owl cum face disorder.
No.
Sex with you must be a real hoot.
Come on, Jay.
But yeah, so, you know. Shalaka is sleeping with a guy from the UK, so at least one Indian could say they saw the British coming. And in remembrance of her ancestors, she makes him shoot between her eyes.
That's a really good joke.
It's truly amazing to hear a sex joke from a guy who looks like he says "ouchie" when he puts it in. So that's great.
Not just looks like.
Anyway, this deflated corn dog is Jay. Jay is married, which is amazing for a man that looks like he owns a lizard.
It's what I call my penis.
Jay's wife is actually a foot shorter than him. For now, once puberty hits, who knows what will happen. So, is that it?
That's us. Thank you.
That's a great battle.
I want to say something, man.
Yeah.
That's. I know we have two battles and they're ranked higher than that, but honestly, man, that is as good as it gets. Those are two of the best that we have. You talk about the writing style. I talk about the psychology. There's a lot that went into that, and there's a lot of good contextual depth in that writing. That was a masterclass in roast battle. When Julie Seabaugh put us on the cover of LA Weekly about 9 years ago, and it was she distinguished roast battle as this: part rap battle, part Comedy Central roast. Shalaka does that almost to a T. And that guy does a thing where it's like he just has these punchlines, right, that you can make raps. And she just does this thing where she's doing the backhanded compliment to open her joke, and then she goes into the writing style, which is the punchline and the roasting plus that rap battle style, because you're going to get those punchlines with the beats and all just from the writing style. I don't think I've ever seen anything that good to where maybe the audience doesn't get it as much because obviously the language barrier, but that's as good as it gets, man. That it doesn't get much better than that. Just from a roast battle to a roast battler, like seeing you guys for the last 10 years do this, I don't think from an observer perspective, it doesn't get much better than that.
That's high praise.
That was really, really well done. And those are the two of the best that we have. Obviously, Jay's the guy over in Japan, the Pacific Theater, and she's the overall MVP. But they both brought it, and I don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
Wow. I love that feedback. I thought it was a great battle. I think it was a really, really good week. I think it's a really tough. We still have two really good ones coming up, but man, I think this is big for Tokyo and for Jay on the heels of last week where they were number 3. Remember, it was Jay versus Harry Metcalf last week, and we shit all over that battle. We did not pull any punches, so it's really nice to see them come back with another number 3 this week. Perhaps last week should have been lower. This week should have been higher. It all kind of comes out in the wash. But I think that both of these guys were great. It was so interesting because I watched this battle in a completely different way today than I did when I was ranking it. On the heels of your discussion about Dave Sheehan and him sort of sexualizing Malia, you have another guy battling a tiny woman. And every joke is about, here's what her asshole looks like. Here's what her pussy looks like. But he pulled it off. What do you think the difference was that allowed him to execute that? Is it because of something Jay did, or because of how Shalaka looks versus Malia, or what do you think?
There is that. I think there is it's the dynamic of the way they look, right? Yeah. And they look like they are dating, as opposed to Dave Sheehan that does kind of look like a father-daughter, or you shouldn't be with this man kind of a thing, in the room with him. But they look a little more, God, I hate to say this, Dave. Yeah, they just aesthetically, they look a little more like they should be together. You know what I mean?
A little closer in age.
A little bit. And she's also, she opens with the joke, I think, sexualizing him.
True.
You know what I mean? Talking about his wife and that kind of a thing. So at that point, it's almost like, go in, Dave. Go in, Jay.
It does kind of open the door. The minute you open with, I ate your wife's pussy, like it kind of, everything's off. Everything is on the table. At that
Correct.
point.
And I'm trying to think of like if Dave would be talking about Shalaka, in that Rapunzel joke, kind of a thing. And would it be creepy? A little bit, probably.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, because that was very well done what Jay did. And I'm like, it was silly. And I'm like, but Jay's a silly guy. His voice is silly.
That's where I was wondering if we'd get to.
And Dave's voice is a little more You know?
Yeah. Dave,
a little more bass in his voice.
The silliness versus aggression. It's been a long time, thing in roast battle. Like the sillier you are, the more you can kind of get away with.
And New York is a little more serious, a little more deadpan.
Yeah. And Tokyo is a little bit more maybe whimsical at times, especially Jay. Apologies to anyone listening on audio right now, because we are on, Spotify and iTunes and all that. If you're listening on audio, the picture of her asshole was the Indian flag, which I never realized the center of which looks like an asshole. It was excellent prop comedy in a sport where it's very tough to deliver a good prop joke. That's what I was saying.
I was like, this never goes well. I was looking at you. I was like, this never goes well with the prop. And then it landed perfectly because it was the Indian national flag. And I was like, it was brilliant. Everything was A+ that they were doing from every aspect of roast battle. Things that shouldn't go well went well.
Yeah.
Long jokes were perfect. They all landed. It was all worth it. It was
his opening with the shalaka. I was watching that. I was like, ooh, we are starting off with a hell of an attempt.
Oh yeah.
It was like when Vince Carter landed the first dunk in the contest.
Exactly.
You're like, oh my God, he pulled that off?
And then I trusted him. I trusted everything after that. And then the prop joke, I was like, I trusted him even more. I'm like, this guy is, I don't know how either of them lose this, because they were both on top of their game.
Shalaka was ruled the winner via the split decision.
Interesting.
But either one could have taken that. It was a great battle for both of them. Shalaka runs her career RBL record to 17-3. We're going to be talking about the MVP in a little bit, and just because of the infrequency with which London has been running shows to start the season, which is about to pick up, Shalaka is not in that conversation, but she's had 2 battles this year. She's 2-0. One of them was ranked number 1. One of them is now ranked number 3. I mean, talk about doing a lot with a limited opportunity.
I mean, she's just so good. I mean, obviously she's the reigning MVP of the league, and she's just so much fun to see. I mean, the show is better when she's on it.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, and she's a PhD. I mean, like, that's crazy that we have that in our sport. That, sorry, the guys that we called this a sport, but a part of this show and a part of this culture and a part of this community, she is at the top of her game and on top of what this game is. And clearly, she's a scientist.
Yeah.
She's got a PhD. So yeah, she's incredible, and she does make this show better because she's so much fun to watch. She's so good at this.
Yeah, and a real. 2 years in a row, Jay Yamaki produces one of the best battles of the season. Last year against Paige Wesley, this year against Shalaka Kurup. Great stuff. Tokyo continuing to climb the rankings, and bringing London along with a couple points this week. We'll get to that in a little bit. Let's jump into the top 2 battles now. The number 2 battle coming up features a couple of interesting names from Scotland, one of which might be putting himself in the contention for Rookie of the Year. The other one might be putting himself in contention for the MVP award. I'm talking about Kyle Samuel and Jack Traynor. It's the number 2 battle this week. Let's just jump right into it.
Let's roast! Fuck
it. Nailed
it. Kyle smells like he still buys CDs. Kyle played badminton with someone that later turned out to be a sex offender. So at least they'll have someone to get a game with when the authorities comb his hard drive. Kyle looks like the lead singer in a Lost Prophets tribute band.
Well. If it isn't the love child of Shaggy and Velma. I mean, Jack looks like Ed Sheeran was a football hooligan. Jack is so sexually inexperienced that if you asked him his favourite position, he'd say centre midfielder. Jack lives in the town of Cumbernauld, famed for racism, drug abuse and domestic violence. And then there's whatever Cumbernauld is like. Jack still lives at home with his mum, obviously. Do you guys realise how hard it is to sneak someone in to have sex with them when you still live at home with your son?
Kyle spends most of his time with teenagers. He's also a teacher. Kyle's an IT teacher. Before I knew him properly, someone was telling me he did something to do with children and computers. And let me tell you, I came to a very different conclusion. Kyle looks like he's escaped an old Soviet lab where they performed the world's first covert Down syndrome transplant. Yes, I understand the Down syndromes. Kyle looks like he has a mild form of a terrible illness, sort of like a lemon inheritable palsy.
Damn. He got them all in.
Yep.
Good one, Ron Measley. Jack looks like he writes erotic fan fiction about his blood relatives.
It pays the bills.
Jack looks like you've put joke shop glasses and a ginger wig on E.T. Jack's girlfriend is Swedish, yeah? And being Swedish, naturally, he had to put her together himself.
That's so good.
Jack looks like the kind of guy who hangs near the school gates and sells e-cigarettes to children. Man is the only person in history to have ever been done with statutory vape.
Despite being an IT teacher, Kyle's that silly he thought an Excel spreadsheet was a breed of bulldog. Kyle looks like if there was a mission in Tony Hawk's where he sells his board for more meth. Kyle keeps getting into trouble for marking all of his pupil report cards with an A plus 4489745. Call me.
Jack's just jealous I can legally enter a school. Jack, if you're here, who's having a feud with Carol Baskins?
Nice.
I'm not sure how I'm going to financially recover from this.
Why don't you talk like that?
No, right? I'm kidding, guys. You know, it's good to see the baby from Trainspotting all grown up. Jack looks like you've combined all the worst features of the Trailer Park Boys.
Damn, Kyle.
Jack's so stupid that the only A he got in school was hepatitis. And Jack works in a bakery selling sausage rolls. You know, imagine going in and getting something greasy, flaky, and unhealthy, handing you a sausage roll.
Kyle's a recovering gambling addict. I'm not much one for it, but I bet he dies alone.
Is that evens?
You get £50 back for a £49 bet. As a teacher, Kyle's been involved in a lot of industrial action recently. He's been responsible for more strikes on innocent school children than Benjamin Netanyahu. Oh, you didn't like the anti-Semitic stuff? There's another one. Kyle actually visited Israel once.
I did, yeah.
Yep. He visited Israel once and he fell in love with the Jewish religion so much he went and circumcised his hairline.
Whoa! Jackie training.
Oh, you done? Right. Okay. Yeah, good one, Dexter's Meth Lab. Jack is so small, he looks like his mum still baths him in the sink. Jack's mum cuts his hair, which technically I think is classed as child abuse. Jack actually had a really troublesome birth, right? The doctors, they tried, but unfortunately, he survived that abortion. Jack looks like the only time he uses his bath is when he brews his own moonshine. Jack smoked so many cigarettes as a child that he gave himself learning difficulties. Jack is the first person in history to have ever been diagnosed with John Player special needs.
Kyle's came here tonight cosplaying as a wall in a pub toilet.
Oh, that's great.
Is that because I've got your mum's phone number here?
No, it's because there's a hole in you, people keep sticking their cock in. Kyle looks like he does the big shop in CEX. Kyle really puts the pedo in secondary school ID teacher. It shouldn't be in there, but I'm really forcing it in. Like Kyle.
Jack only sleeps with heroin addicts so that when they're not disappointed when he takes his trousers off and they see a needle.
Needle's a joke.
Jack was raised Catholic, but he left the church when he found out the holiday wasn't called Hash Wednesday. Is this our last round?
No, I've got two more, unfortunately.
Oh, two more jokes?
One round and then 2 rounds.
All right, okay, it's your turn now. In that case, that can't count.
If Kyle's hairline was my grandmother, we'd be going on holiday to Switzerland. Me and Kyle were really good friends, honestly. We've been friends for a while now. We go way back. Way back. A lot like his hairline.
Yep.
Kyle's from a place called East Ayrshire. More like Least Hairshire. A lot like Kyle's disruptive pupils, his hairline's been held back. I'm not saying he's a creepy teacher, but he does shirts versus skins for a spelling bee.
I'm not saying that Jack has a cocaine problem, but he could probably identify what colour your front door is by the smell of your keys.
Damn.
Jack's uncle was a heroin addict, and he never found love, because anytime someone... He knows where this is going. I'll start again. Jack's uncle was a heroin addict, and he never found love because anytime someone asked to be the little spoon, he'd burn them with a lighter. Jack likes drugs himself, as I've mentioned. He used to take a lot of ecstasy, but Jack now, he gets suicidal anytime he has ecstasy. It got so bad once that he once tried to actually hang himself. Right? Jack and his uncle are a lot alike. They're both two people trying to shorten their own lives by misusing a belt.
Kyle's an avid fan of 10-pin bowling. I suppose there's just something about sticking 3 fingers in something that weighs 10 kg in an alleyway.
Damn.
Jack, I asked you not to tell people about that night we had.
Kyle tried to email Kendrick Lamar's people to patch things up after thinking Not Like Us was about him.
Topical.
Honestly, Kyle's actually livid with the recent Drake allegations. He's so livid he's not putting them on the radio when he picks his girlfriend up from high school. And Kyle fixes his hair the same way he fixes his sex life. He has to pay.
You had to go French on it.
No, it's fine. Fuck it.
I'm just gonna come out and say it. That was my number one battle this week. No disrespect to anybody else. It might be my favorite battle of the season so far. I can't remember the last time I laughed that many times at a battle. And obviously they take a lot of swings in Scotland. A lot. But man, did a lot of them connect.
I mean, look, I just said the last one, I was like, that's as good as it gets. Like, that's as good as it gets reading from your phone.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like they were using that as a prop.
Yeah.
You know, it's,
yeah.
I mean, Jack and Kyle, that was well done, you two. I mean, you could tell they were friends. Even if they weren't, it felt like they were playing friends in a musical version of like, we're just going to talk shit about each other.
Yeah.
I mean, or just like Wayne's World Down syndrome. I don't even know. It was so much fun with those two. And Kyle has this style that Jay Yamaki has, which is they're like chili with like alarms to the spice, right? It's like you don't get it once, like, it's like it hits you later and later and later, and you're like the spice level rises just the longer time goes on. And like Jay Yamaki does that really well, and then Kyle does that really well. I really appreciate it. But Jack had some big pops, and there was so many different ways that man called him a pedophile.
Yeah, Jack finds, he's such a good writer. He finds every possible way to hit a topic in, you know, using as many different like literary devices as possible. They're really sound writers over there.
Oh yeah.
You know, they always have the most ridiculous information. Like the second setup of the battle was, he once played badminton with a guy who turned out to be a sex offender. How do you know that?
That's what I'm saying. Like they have this Roastmasters era New York style about them. They really go in and then they really come out just like they beat the shit out of a topic.
It is absolutely unbelievable how many jokes connected in that battle. I was blown away and really have been by those three all season. I mean, I want to, before we get into the number one battle here, I want to talk MVP real quick because we just saw Shalaka, last season's MVP. Something tells me she'll be in the conversation before the year is done.
She's effortless.
Jay Yamaki could be in that conversation. But I want to talk about those two guys we just saw. Kyle Samuel, that battle went to Jack Trainer.
Deservedly so. I see why.
Split decision on the judges, went to the crowd, took like 3 crowd votes to finally get somebody. It was that close.
Kyle had him early. Jack had him late. Jack might have had 1 or 2 more pops, I'd say overall.
Yeah. And by the way, the exchange in the middle about came dressed like a bathroom toilet because your mom's phone number is all you know because there's a hole everybody sticks their dick in. Wow, did they nail that exchange as well. But Kyle Samuel now 1-2 on the season, but has faced only the best. He battled Ryan Cullen. He's had 3 battles, all 3 of them RBL ranked. 17 points he's put up for Scotland, which ranks 3rd overall in the league. The guy who ranks 2nd, it was his opponent here, Jack Trainer. Jack Trainer 3-0, all 3 battles ranked, has put up 19 points over the course of those 3 battles for a first place city in Scotland. I think that this guy at this point deserves real MVP consideration.
So you're saying right now, if you had to vote today, Jack Trainer is your MVP of the league?
Let's pull up, Def, if you don't mind, the one graphic that we prepared with the MVP. Let's take a look at this right here.
Okay.
There's a lot of, heat behind Heather Keith right now. Obviously, 4-0, 4 very impressive wins in 3 nights, wins the Netflix festival. Obviously, she doesn't have the resume in terms of like the total RBL points that the other 2 have.
Strength of schedule, though.
Strength of schedule is crazy. I mean, facing the best in the world and really winning all of them, I feel like, pretty decisively.
I mean, she Shalaka that. She was the MVP of that tournament, and obviously she won.
Absolutely. And we were there. We saw it. There's recency bias, all of that. But her resume is crazy. Only 1 RBL battle. It was the number 1 battle in week 1 against Jack Timmons. Then you have Max Sorich, who was the darling of the league the first 6 weeks. He put up 4 RBL battles for a total of 23 points for Chicago. 2 of them were number 1 battles. 23 total points is an insane output.
Damn.
For a Chicago team that got out to a big lead to start largely in part because of Max. And then you have Jack Trainer, who we just saw 3-0, all 3 of them ranked, one of them number 1. The other 2, if my math serves, both had to be number 2. So all 3 battles, top 2 battles, 19 total points. To me, it's really hard to choose between these 3, but these 3 are leaps and bounds ahead of whoever's in 4th.
I mean, you look at Heather and Max, they have the advantage of the tournament, right? So obviously that recency bias of just like, man, they're just running through people. And it's just like, these guys are badass because they can write jokes on the spot almost or week by week because they're in a tournament. Heather day by day, obviously. But Jack's got no tournament.
Yeah.
You know, he's just battling the best of the best, and he's got 19 points to show for it. So yeah, this is I would say it's a 4-horse race because I would toss Shalaka in there, obviously, because her 2 battles I've seen, they're memorable.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's tough, man, especially with those undefeated records.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely can't count her out. And again, we're in week 11. This is a 34, 35-week season. There's a long way to go.
Yeah.
But just for me right now, these are the top 3. Absolutely insane starts for all of them. Jack Trainer has been really the biggest surprise.
Absolutely.
To me, every battle he has is just nails. It's incredible how good of a writer that guy is.
Yeah, he's fun, man. The Shaggy and Velma by Kyle was really good about him, though. It's very
spot
true.
on.
Yeah, he does look like a Chernobyl disaster. Jack
Baby
Osborne.
from Train Spotting all grown
Oh
up.
my God.
Yeah.
Dude, Kyle Samuel, yeah. Well done, my man.
Yeah, that was maybe the battle of the year so far, battle of the season in my mind. Great work out of those guys. And yet it is not number 1.
Interesting.
We have put number 1 in a tough position. And I want to be very clear here because Josh Means, I don't want you recording another diss track. I don't want you being like, LA's only number 1 because no. Nobody from LA voted on this battle. Not one LA representative voted on this battle. This is the result of people all over the world putting their votes in, and they had this as number 1. Like I said, to me, Scotland was number 1 this week, but this battle is outstanding too, and it's a battle I was able to see in a completely different light because we were in the room for this one, and I felt one way about it, and then watching it back, I felt a different way, and we'll discuss that in a minute. This was from the first round of the Netflix tournament.
Oh, wow.
In the Belly Room. This is the only show that we had of the festival in the Belly Room, and this is 2 LA greats. This is Paige Wesley versus Nate Welch. It's the number 1 battle this week. Here it is.
Let's roll! Y'all make some noise for my opponent, Kanklin Clark. Paige is the only person I know that can type XXX in her search bar and clothes pop up before porn.
That's a great joke.
It's that algorithm, yo.
The fuck is that?
I may be fat, but Nate, you look like the only guy that wears condoms with the sleeves cut off. Nate is from the bayou, so he'll eat anything that crawls. Crawfish, crayfish, women trying to escape.
It's hilarious. You look like Jelly Roll's cousin. Busted Biscuit. Legend has it that Paige's belly button is deeper than a Robert Frost poem. I guess the gym was on the road not taken.
2 rolls diverged in a wood, and
That's such a good rebuttal.
Thank you. Nate looks like he only dates black women so he can steal their wigs. Nate lost his hair after.
I forgot to warn everybody. Back for this battle.
You got it.
Hey girl.
Is that a lace front? Or Nate lost his hair after Hurricane Katrina. It made an emergency evacuation from his Superdome.
Yeah, Paige knows all about devastation. She's destroyed more patio furniture than Hurricane Katrina. Thanks. Paige loves meat and the stars. She's really into pastrami.
That's true. I do love the meats.
I'm almost mad that joke wasn't about me.
True story, not a joke. When I caught COVID, Jeff offered to send me pastrami to my house because I think he thought that would cure me. Anyway, Nate drives a cop car because he's used to telling women that they have the right to remain silent. But also, Nate, you drive a cop car, you are a bouncer, you have hella roommates. You're like the only can't afford rent-a-cop.
Very true. You look like a good. I like that one, Roseanne Bar and Grill.
You look like a white minion.
Yeah, I do. That's good. Paige works from home because she can't fit in the car. I think she should actually become a cop. I bet you take a big ass bite out of crime.
That's rich. You look like you vape 11 herbs and spices.
I don't know what the fuck a herb is.
I'm pretty sure you do, Vin Diesel who drinks diesel. Like, that's what you look like. Calling me fat when you're over here like bargain bin Vin Diesel and Fatrick Stewart, Professor XXL up in this bitch.
I love it.
I could. I have a joke after.
Oh, good.
So in 1803, the United States purchased Louisiana for $18 a mile, which means the surface of Nate's head is worth like $47.
Yeah, you fat fuck.
Let's go. That was a lot of math for me. You look like you've been doing Oreo Zimpic.
It's working.
Paige loves Mardi Gras because it's the only day people celebrate fat twos.
I'm the tightest 5 you'll ever get. Nate actually moved to LA because he wrote a pilot, and I have it here. I'd actually like to read it for you. It says, "Dear pilot, how planes go up and down."
So there was the #1 battle of the week. Paige Wesley, Nate Welch. There is a lot to unpack here. Let's start with this. Great battle.
Great battle.
Great battle. They each had outstanding jokes. Nate was declared the winner of the battle, moved on to the next round of the tournament. It is in the room, the judging went pretty heavily towards Nate. Watching it back, I think that battle is really, really close. I thought Nate was a little bit more consistent, but Paige had a couple of huge pops, including that closer. My God.
The closer was so good. Paige, she flipped a lot of what he was doing, which is pun play and just, matching his energy a lot. And then like when he tried to go, with his smart jokes with like literary references, she went even off the cuff with just like, matching him. The math joke about the Superdome, playing with double entendres. I mean, Paige had a masterclass in writing in that. And I don't think it was appreciated in the room because of what happened during the battle where we had a couple celebrities and there was a capacity issue happening, and I had to go and deviate an escalating situation. So that didn't get the credit deserved in the room, I thought, and maybe the judges missed some of the stuff that Paige was saying because, man, I even missed that. Paige, well done. You deserve so much better. That was a hell of a battle, and you really wrote your ass off. And Nate, well done, obviously.
Yeah, they both killed it. Best battle to me of Nate Welch's career.
Absolutely.
Best Nate Welch battle I've ever seen. I thought they were both just crushing it the whole way through. The thing about in the room, and this is why I say it was completely different watching it back than it was live. So that night devolved into a little bit of chaos. I think we could safely say that. We had 7 judges to start, which became 9. Way too many cooks in the kitchen. Way too many people judging. A couple people who, for various reasons, were not good at it.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of feedback for this battle in particular that I thought was unwarranted. Watching it back, how you could say anything other than "holy shit, you're both awesome," feels like a real miss for any of the judges who didn't see what we just saw.
Right.
And then on top of that, the night was already feeling a little bit chaotic. Celebrities, as you alluded to, show up in the middle of the battle, and you have the door guys and the security trying to do their best to accommodate them, but in the process, moving out other people who should not have been moved. It was a whole thing. And what I have come to realize as the father of a child with autism, you learn a lot about different spectrum that we're like, I can describe on a more technical level. Before I would just be like, yeah, I get annoyed easily. But it's like a sensory thing. Like when I have too much audio stimulation coming from like every side, like I'm trying to listen to the battle, but I'm also hearing to my right, to my side, behind me, I'm hearing commotion in all these areas while they try to accommodate these people. I get so frustrated for the battlers on stage that I can no longer enjoy what's happening there because I'm so preoccupied with all this other shit.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
And I think
also.
for a lot of people in the room, and it really speaks to how good Paige's closer was, in the middle of absolute chaos, she landed that motherfucker. Like, if she had not had to deal with that joke might have annihilated the room and won her the battle.
If it would have had full attention and full investment from everybody, judges, everybody included, if it doesn't, you're right. Like this commotion doesn't happen in the middle of that, her last joke.
Yeah.
Just, man. And then you just don't give her the respect some of the judges didn't give her. Like, that thing got an applause break during all that commotion. So you're right. Had that not happened, I mean, there's no way Nate wins.
Yeah. And when you say commotion, not just people being kicked out and everything, there are literally celebrities sitting down and people are like watching, like some of the most famous people in the world are sitting down in the VIP and right. People are focused on that, and still Paige's closer landed that hard. I have nothing but incredible things to say about this battle watching it back. It's really hard to evaluate who should have won, who should have lost. They both did great. I think in another world where we didn't have those distractions, that would have been probably a one more joke situation.
Correct.
Thing is, by the time you get to me, I'm the 8th judge. It was already over by the time you got to me. The consensus in the room was like Nate got her. But watching it back, man, just great job for both of them.
I mean, Pastranomy went platinum in the room.
I hate it. But you know what's so funny? Like Nate said afterwards, he's like, yeah, after Pastranomy, I looked right at you to see how much you would hate that joke. He knows.
I mean, Jeff Ross even commented on it in the room, just like, I hate that joke wasn't about me.
Yeah.
And then Paige commented on it and then flipped. I mean, just, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Paige. I'm sorry, Nate. That was tough in that room that night, man. There's not much more we could have done, but just to take accountability as the guy who runs the room, I apologize. That was a tough one, and you guys deserve much better. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, 2 legends in the game, 2 of the absolute best. I'm really happy that there was another scheduling conflict over the weekend, and we got to get Paige a battle on that outside joke stage. She got to go up there in front of about 1,000 people or so. And kill it on, again, 3 hours notice. Because how many people on earth could you be like, yeah, we have 3 hours to put together something in front of like 1,000 people. Who do we trust to do that?
The first person you called was Paige. I mean, like the only person you thought about was Paige. You're like, I don't think there's anybody else who could do this.
It wouldn't have worked with anybody else. If she had been busy, I think we would have just scrapped the battle and said, we'll just go shorthanded tonight. But with Paige, you're like, if anyone can make this work, it's her.
And they might have had like the battle of the night outside of Heather Keith's performance.
Yeah, they did great. So shout out to 2 legends in the roast battle space. One doing it a long time, one just in the middle of this crazy run, Nate Welch, a run that ended crashing directly into a brick wall on the final night of the tournament in epic fashion. It was very funny to see Nate after months and months and months of creating this persona that is hitting so hard in the belly room, where everybody is like, we love everything this guy's doing. He was put in front of an audience that did a complete 180, and they were like, we hate this man. And it was kind of fun to see. I'm sure it wasn't very fun for him. But
he had a good time. He takes everything in stride.
He does. That's one thing I love about that guy is he keeps really good perspective on everything. And even though he's winning all these battles, he was never like, oh yeah, I'm the man. And then he loses a couple and he's not like, oh, I suck. He's just always at an 8.
Right.
Which is great. That's how you survive in this industry. Always be at a number and don't get too high or too low. So shout out to both of them. Amazing battle.
The only time anybody's ever said Nate is an 8. Anyway,
yes,
continue.
Fair. That was the number one battle this week, LA. Let's take a look at the standings before we get out of here. LA picks up the 7 points, expands their lead in the West, and does it this time with 2 actual LA battlers. No imports from San Diego or anything like that getting LA the points. They actually earn it on their own merits. Austin it puts a little bit of distance between them and the Bay Area for second place with their battle. Wow. Over in the East, New York has taken over Chicago for first place in the East. Chicago, of course, put up big numbers early in the season with their tournament. They got to figure out something right now because New York is on a roll and they have come all the way from behind. They tied them last week. They took the lead this week. Cleveland puts up another point. Atlanta, God, just get 1 point before the season ends. That's all I need.
Do something, Atlanta. Go get, I don't know, just recruit all over the South. There's funny people everywhere.
If I'm Atlanta, I am trying to book Heather Keith versus Shalaka Kurup at my club. Just a desperation Hail Mary. Whatever it costs, make it happen. Get that battle. Let's check out the international now. Scotland with the number 2 battle expands their lead over Toronto. They are now up by 14. Shout out, by the way, to Barcelona, who I thought had a really fun battle this week that just missed the countdown for me. I really enjoyed that. That was a Hannah Becker versus Jamie Lerner. Really enjoyed that one. And then over in the East, this is the closest division of all. Manchester, 2 points ahead of Tokyo. London sitting 6.5 back. They are within striking distance. Anybody could take that division, and Tokyo just continues their climb, man. They have another week like this. They could be in first place.
The IE. Look at the International East.
Yeah.
That sleeping giant in London in third place was kind of picking and choosing their spot to kind of take over. Tokyo, you're looking good now. You were talking a lot of shit. You were kind of like the Bay Area last year. You said you're going to catch London. Now you're looking up at Manchester. You may get this is crazy, Tokyo. I love this comeback story.
Yeah, and they didn't even have to record any diss tracks. They just had some good battles.
Shade.
Absolutely. This is that's the theme of this episode. Fuck you, Bay Area.
Thank you, Kevin Hart. Attack.
Yeah, right. Mention my name in a rap. How dare you? I think one of them called me fat.
You're such a battle rap fan, too. This is like up your alley.
You don't think I want to start writing immediately?
Oh, you are.
Oh, in
when's
my
that
head
going
I
down?
am.
When's the rematch going down? When's the rematch going down?
I can't.
All right.
I can't. Come on, man.
Shout out Manchester.
I got a kid. I don't want him to look back on that and be embarrassed. Get bullied in school someday. Oh, I heard your dad's a battle rapper. No. We can't do that. Anyway, shout out Manchester, hanging on for dear life to that International East Division, and shout out to New York for taking over the East here in the States.
Love it, man. This is awesome.
This is it's great. We're back into the full swing of things. A lot of big things coming up. California Cup this Thursday. Make sure if you're in LA, you're going to that. Mothership, big announcement coming on a special Mothership date coming up in a couple months. I want to talk about it. I'm going to give it another week or two before we really get into it, but we're going to do something cool. Until then, I got nothing else. You?
Let's roast!